Hello, year 33 MFL members. Thought I'd throw a little video together here. I don't know how many people really care about my process, but I don't know, there might be a little learning curve, at least on the process, as we lead up into the live auction, which is going to be a week from Saturday in the evening. Right now it's set for 8:23 p.m. I don't know why I didn't pick that time, but again, once it starts, I'll pause. I'll make sure everybody's set. And again, I'm the first player nominator as a result of my terrible record last year. So, I'll have a pretty good grasp on who's ready, who's not, that sort of thing. So just be aware of that. I am mainly wanting to share with you guys how I'm going to go about selecting my sleepers. Not only my process to some extent, I won't get into the minutia necessarily, but also just the nuts and bolts and technical, where to click, where to make sure you're saved. So when you go into Sleeper, you should have a screen that looks something like this. Now again, this is on the PC. If you're looking on your phone, I have a feeling it's probably much the same. This chat over here is probably down at the bottom of your phone screen, but these two clocks are pretty standard. I think they're showing up on your app, whether you're on a PC or on a Mac or on a phone or whatever. So I did have some comment about can we have more than a day between? So like, can we shorten the deadline for keepers so that there's more time for people to prep? I'm not going to change anything on Sleeper. So we are just still going to have this one day, because I need that day, honestly, to get the draft board set. And I might get into some detail about that. But what I will do is I'll have conversation with everyone probably starting Sunday. I have a feeling Sunday is going to be a good day for that. If I can get a spreadsheet put together that's got everybody's keepers on it with their money remaining, I'll get that shared early. And then if we have to make some adjustments due to injury or due to retirement or whatever, we've still got a little window of time. But I can tell you, once that day deadline hits, things I think get a little more tricky. So on Friday the 29th at right now at 8:23 Mountain Time, which would be 9:23 Central Time, you will need to have everything put into Sleeper. I'm going to show you how to do that. You'll notice here I've got 4 already set. Believe it or not, these are the players that I either matched, franchised, or signed off of other rosters. So when I go into my, there's 2 of these again. There's a keeper timer and there's a draft board timer. This one is the deadline for marking your keepers and saving them. This one is the start of the live auction. But right now I'm just talking about keepers. I'm going to go into edit. I did do this some on a previous video, by the way. So if this looks familiar, great. If not, if you want to go back and check some, that's kind of one of the reasons I started posting this to my YouTube channel, because we can always go back and rewatch something if we need to. I marked Amon-Ra St. Brown because I franchised him. Now you'll notice here there's not any place for salaries or anything like that. Again, that day between the keeper deadline and the live auction starting is the day I get to go in and do that as the commissioner. So know that you don't have to worry about that on Sleeper. Now you probably do need to worry about that as it relates to budgeting what you're trying to do in the live auction. But as far as just marking your keepers, this is the easy part. So I have Amon-Ra St. Brown as the player I franchised. I have Roschon Johnson, who I signed off of another roster. I have Chuba Hubbard, who I signed off of another roster. And I have Ricky Pearsall, who I signed off another roster. So actually, I now that I think about it, I don't think I ended up matching anybody. I let Goff go, and I let Jameson Williams go. And that may have been the only 2 I really needed to worry about. So that leaves me with minimum 8 more keepers, okay? Because everybody gets 12 no matter what. So I take my 4 that I have franchised and signed. I get my 8 that everybody gets, but then I also get, and this is kind of a repeat question from some, I also get 3 more. Because I signed Roschon Johnson off of the Knights, I signed Chuba Hubbard off of the Army, and I signed Ricky Pearsall off of the Coyotes. I actually get 3 more keepers. So I have 15 players total that I can keep, if you will. Again, the keepers are kind of just those ones that weren't involved really in the bidding process, but in for the sake of Sleeper, your keepers are franchised, signed, matched, and kept. So it's kind of all of them. Okay, so just be aware that is where we're at right now. Interestingly enough, I just had to answer a text from someone who was asking me about keepers. So I hopefully paused that and it worked out okay. So then the question becomes, okay, how do you decide what you want to do as far as the rest of these? So just know I have my 4 that I have to keep. There's no way around that. Now, if I decide for whatever reason I want to cut them because they got injured, or I want to make some kind of an adjustment for a special case, that's just going to be a conversation with me, and we usually work something out if it's something like that. I can tell you, doesn't happen very often, but you can get like half your money back, and we can let everybody know, hey, this is what happened, and then we'll go from there. But as I look at the rest of my roster, okay, I basically want to decide who can I keep, hopefully for probably cheaper than what they would be bid for. Okay. One of the reasons we do the franchise salaries is, of course, to decide what the top end salary should be. But the other reason I do it, or at least the other way I use it, is I look at that as kind of the top end of what I'm willing to pay for someone. Now, that being the case, I'm the kind of person who does not cause the franchise salary to go up from year to year, because I rarely beat that salary number in any of my bids and any of my keepers, really in anything. And I haven't really had a player that I would do that for in quite some time. There are players, though, that you should do that for. And if you have them, then that's where that salary number can go up. But I'm always working, as aggressive as I am with my bidding, I'm always kind of working toward that franchise salary number being the top number. So the first thing I do is if I go look at my team, here's my roster. I went out of the keepers for now. I still only have 4. But I would just start looking at, is there anybody here who I did not franchise, who maybe should be franchised? I have, I won't show you or anything, but I have a piece of paper over here that's got everything kind of listed. And I'll just tell you now, I have Jonathan Taylor listed as the second best player on my team. Okay. And so what I do is I would actually go to Dynasty. No, I don't want Dynasty. I would go to MFL rosters. I would go over here. I would look at my guys here. Jonathan Taylor's at 105. I'm going to have to pay him at least 10%. That's 10.5. So that would be 115.5. So 116. Okay, is what I would have to pay him to keep him. Now the number one thing I'm thinking is nobody came and bid on him, so I don't know that anybody out there thinks he's worth 116 points. If he goes to the live auction, then it follows there's not really anyone who's going to pay him more than that, I would think. Now, things can be weird, and if that's the case, if I decided to throw him back and he went above 116, I think it makes very little sense for me to bid higher because I could have just kept him. So I'll just tell you now, 116 sounds a little steep. When I go back to Sleeper, I go back to my league chat, and I can look at my franchise numbers. The running back franchise amount is 111. So I'm paying him, if I keep him, 5 points over the franchise amount. So just part of my process is nobody bid up on him. If they had, they probably would have got him. If I throw him back, he's probably going to get re-signed for cheaper, either by me or by someone else. And if I kept him, he would be paid over the franchise amount. So there's like 3 strikes against Jonathan Taylor. So newsflash, everybody, Jonathan Taylor is going to be available in the live auction. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to bid on him. I mean, the way I see it, I can probably bid up to, 100 pretty easy if I really want him. And I get him at a discount, from what I would have had to pay. But Jonathan Taylor, no. Okay. If I were to look at the next player on my list here, it would be Sam Laporta. So let's look at some Sam Laporta real quick. All right. I had to pause again. Sam Laporta, I think, is where I left off. And so, again, all I would do is just go down my list here. And again, how you're ranking your players should really come down to, you can Google an ADP list, you can Google an auction list, but it really comes down to whatever list you're looking at. Do you agree? So, like, if I thought Sam Laporta was better than Jonathan Taylor, then on my list, I'd rank him higher than that, regardless of what any list told me. So I think that's the important part. You can use any list you want as kind of a baseline reference, but in the end, the decision of where to put these guys is kind of your decision. So here's Sam Laporta on my team. I'm looking over here at the pinned messages, and I already know the salary for a franchise tight end is 45. It actually went down 9 points, which percentage-wise is significant. So tight ends do not appear to be at a real premium in our league. I'm going to go back to my MFL roster here, and I can just blow that up a little bit for the sake of the video and take a look. Sam Laporta is at 54. I'm going to have to pay him another 6 if I want to keep him. That's 60 for those that need the math done for them. And again, I just don't think so. So another news flash, folks. Sam Laporta is going to be available. I'm not paying him the 60 now. Again, if somebody wants to come in and bid against me in the live auction, well, I mean, in budget-wise or at least philosophically, I could probably go up to 59 or 60, and I'm comfortable with that because that's what I could have got him for, and anything less is just a bonus. Anybody wants to go 61? I'm probably not going to do that. So let's say Sam Laporta was somebody I wanted to bid on. I can go in and preset in case I lose my Wi-Fi, in case I'm gone for the night for an emergency or whatever, and the computer will know I'm not paying Sam Laporta more than 60. I can also go in and say I'm not paying Sam Laporta the franchise amount, which again is 45. I don't think he's worth that. I think he might be worth 40. Then I'll put him in at 40. And again, in the old school thinking, that's, that would have been roughly 20 million. If that makes sense. And again, for an elite tight end, that may not be so bad. He's just got some issues, I think, quirks, if you will. So there's 2 players already I know I'm throwing back, and I still have all these keepers that I need to use if I'm going to use them, right? So let's look at an interesting case here on this next player. Just on my list, I have DJ Brown, and I do think DJ Moore, excuse me. I do think I'm doing this slowly, so not everybody has this kind of time. But I do think at some point you do kind of need to take your roster player for player, maybe minus kickers and defenses, unless you have an extra spot at the end, and you ought to evaluate them as to whether or not you really want them. So DJ Moore, I made a trade for. Now I will tell you that's usually an indicator that I'm more willing to pay them. So chances are, if I can in my brain justify it, I'm probably going to keep him. So let's go look at the roster here. I think I moved DJ Moore over on this roster. I did. He is making 51. Okay. And again, if you go back to Sleeper, the wide receiver franchise amount is 101. Now, again, I don't think that 101 applies to DJ Moore. But the question then becomes, all right, well, what tier does he fall in on kind of where I'm thinking? And if I'm going to keep him, am I willing to just give him the, the 6-point raise? This is one of those, it's going to round up, even though it's 5.1, it's going to be 6. So is he worth 57 to me? At the time of this video, I'm just going to tell you, yes, he is. I think DJ Moore is a stud. I don't know if Caleb Williams is a stud or not. I think Carolina was crazy to trade him. I just have always really thought he was a good player. So I'm probably going to keep DJ Moore at 57. Once I make that decision, I do ask myself, if I throw him back, is there a chance that someone's going to try to go bid 58? I don't know. I mean, that's where you got to kind of have some faith in your fellow man, I guess, maybe. I can tell you this. I'll bet you there's one person out there that probably would, and I could not name that person. But I think there would be. And I'll be honest, one person is me. And if I'm willing to do that, why not just pay him the 57? So there's my keeper there. So now I'm up to 5. So I have 10 more players that I need to go through on this to kind of get my keeper list together. Now you don't have to keep all the players you can keep. But then you kind of get down toward that bottom of your roster. I'm kind of looking. I've got Blake Corum. Let's look at some Blake Corum here, right here. Okay, he's a young guy. Whoever has, the Caleb Williams or whatever, the guy, the starter for the Rams. That person might want this guy at some point, maybe, or if Corum becomes a starter due to injury or whatever else, and I do not wish that on anybody, he might be worth having at the end of my bench. And I do remember picking him up late last year just for this moment. If nobody happens to bid on him, do I want to stick him on my roster? And I can just tell you now, when I start talking about, keeper number 13, 14, 15, he's down there at the end. I can keep him for 4. So I think I have to give him a 1-point raise. That probably means I have him at 3 right now. Yeah, I have him at 3. I will have to keep him at 4. I think he's probably worth it. Just hang on, and even if I keep him all this year, maybe he's worth it going into the next year. Now, I think the starter for the Rams is already re-upped with a new contract and all kinds of things. So I don't know what Corum's future looks like, but again, if he's out there, and let's also say something weird happens between now and the live auction, or even more so maybe between the live auction and the start of the season, he's got an upside chance to be worth more. So you know what? Blake Corum, I'm probably going to throw him on my list. I did rank on my piece of paper where the players that I signed should be. I can just tell you now. Roschon Johnson, also kind of an experiment, but with that new offensive coordinator, I think there might be a little David Montgomery angle with the Roschon Johnson, and I kind of like that. So he's at the bottom end of my 15. I have to keep him because I signed him, but I signed him for 6, and again, he's sort of a stash. I've got some people in the middle. Jordan Love, 73 is what it'll cost to keep him. By the way, he would be the only quarterback I would have, so there's a decent chance I'm going to have to hang on to him. Evan Ingram, I can keep him at 37, which again is below that franchise amount. He's got Bo Nix. He's got that awesome Sean Payton offense. I'm thinking a little bit of a, who was that tight end he used to have, Jimmy somebody. Maybe Evan Ingram is worth taking a look at. So I got some bargains. Jennings is probably going to be a bargain that I'll look at just keeping. I got Leggett, lots of upside. Might hang on to him. Hollywood Brown. Mahomes got to throw somebody, right? So in the end, I will have a list of 15 players, not necessarily my top 15 based upon salary. But I'll have a List. Very likely I'll use all my keepers. I'll have 15 players that I'll keep. When I'm done with that, I do the math. I figure out how many points I have left under my salary cap. I look at my rookie carryover money, which is also in the pinned posts. I think I put that right here. There's my carryover money. I can tell you also on the bids rookie money, that's going to be right around like 5.5, or it's going to be around 10 or 11 points. I was about to get into millions again. It's going to be right around 10 or 11 points if you used all of your bids. And then if you didn't, you'll get a few of those. But I'm going to add that to your rookie money, and then hopefully when the draft starts, and we should be able to see that before the draft starts. We should be, once I get in and do my adjustments to the salaries and get everybody's keepers assigned to their draft board, we should be able to see how much money you've got left and do the math and see if it looks right. So yeah, so that's pretty much the bottom line on that. I felt like I had one more point to make. I'm going to pause real quick. Okay, so I've had the question come up a couple of times. How many keepers do we get? It's set for 20 on the Sleeper website. No, we do not have 20. Again, on a previous video I explained, potentially you could have 20. But I have 15 because I signed 3 players from other rosters. And I don't think anybody ended up with more than 15. You do need to know you have 22 roster spots. So the more keepers you use, the less you're going to have to really worry about signing a whole lot in the live auction. But there's some rookies out there that are going to be awesome, that are going to go for some money. There's some quarterbacks I would imagine that are going to be thrown back and signed a little cheaper, stuff like that. So even once you're done with all your keepers, look at your empty spots and start allocating, okay, where, am I only going to do one kicker, one defense, which, by the way, is generally what I do coming out of the auction. Am I going to do 2 quarterbacks? Am I going to do 3? Am I exceptionally deep at wide receiver, running back? Do I need to get a little deeper at one of those positions? Do I need a backup tight end or 2, depending on how I want to handle that? Because I can say 22, for the amount of action we have going into filling our rosters, you almost have to have a plan for all 22 spots, really. It kind of seems that way to me. So here I am on my sleeper, and I just wanted to kind of just show you real quick. So I got my 4 still here, but let's say I decided I wanted to keep DJ Moore. So I would just go over here, DJ Moore. I would hit a check mark on that. I am going to keep Jordan Love. I already know that. Again, I use the same process, if you will, for each of these players. I am going to keep Evan Ingram. I'm going to keep Juwan Jennings. I'm going to keep Trey Benson. I think the James Conner guy might also be interested in this guy, or maybe I am if if something happens and he ends up being worth more than he is right now. I am going to save Xavier Legette. I'm going to save Hollywood Brown. And some of these guys are pretty cheap. I'm going to save Quentin Johnston. Talk about an enigma, man. That dude. And for what it's worth, I traded for him last year, and he did okay, but very hit or miss. And again, I will not be counting on him, but I'm getting him pretty cheap. I'm keeping J.K. Dobbins, living in Bronco country. I feel like I kind of need to do that. I am not, just for the record, on my list here after J.K. Dobbins, I had Christian Watson listed, and too many injuries. I'm not keeping him, so that's a no. Here's my Blake Corum. Blake Corum. There he is. And then Roschon Johnson, who should already be marked, I think. Yeah, he is already marked. And then I'm gonna. That's, by the way, that's 14. You can see down here at the bottom it says 14 out of 20. And again, I have 15. So I'm gonna go ahead and set that. You'll notice now I've got 14 out of. It says 14 out of 20. It's actually 14 out of 15. So just be aware of that. And now I can kind of go in and do a little evaluative process on, do I really want to spend that keeper spot, or would I rather save that roster spot for somebody I might get in the auction? Is there somebody on my roster after 14 keepers that is worth the stash? And again, to me, this would definitely be a low. So I'm looking at the lower, 1-2 point guys, stuff like that. So just so you know, through my process here, I had 3 names that came up. I had Elijah Moore, wide receiver for the Browns. I had Calvin Austin, wide receiver for the Steelers. And I had Isaiah Davis, running back for the Jets. And they're all the same price. Just so you know, rank-wise, I actually have Elijah Moore as the highest-ranked player out of those 3. I'm not a fan. I don't know that I would keep him just because the Browns are the Browns, and I've rode the Elijah Moore train perhaps long enough. If I were to pick a second one out of there, I am a Steeler fan. Calvin Austin III is the likely winner. But I'm a little intrigued with Isaiah Davis because, he kind of fits in that Jets rotation and stuff like that. So once I make the decision, I would just go in and I would, make that decision. If it was Elijah Moore, I'd click on there. Trey Tucker if I want to. Not probably going to happen. But I would make my decision and then I'd lock it in. So let's say it's Calvin Austin. So there's my 15 keepers set. Okay. I only have 7 players to sign once we get going. One of those is going to be a kicker. One of those is going to be a defense. A couple of those, hopefully, are probably going to be quarterbacks. And I'm down to I've only got 3 kind of free spots. And I'm not entirely sure, what those are yet. That's the next step. So anyway, prior to this timer on keepers running out, what you want to do is have these set so that when it does run out, I can go in then assign salaries to those players, put them on the draft board. So if you'll notice when you go to the draft room, by the way, you'll notice when I selected those, it put them as keepers. So anyone can go look at that right now if they want to. But it puts them as keepers. What I do is I take your keepers once you've got them all set, and I put them up here on the draft board. So I'll put them in a starting lineup. I'll put them on a bench or whatever. You'll get to change all that when you want to. But I will fill these in, and when I do fill these in, since it is an auction league, you can see that up here. And it's still kind of set for last year's salary structure, and that's hopefully something I can fix now too. But I will, when I assign the player to a spot on your draft board, I will give them a salary, and that salary will come off of here. And so prior to the draft, the auction, every one of these will be accurate down to the points that you have available, including the rookie money. And I'll just tell you now what I do with the rookie money is I take your most expensive player and I take those points off of their salary. So the only thing I'll have to keep track of going into next year, I hope, is where did I take the money off, so that going into next year's silent auction, I just need to go in and put that money back on. And because their salary will always be that higher number. But I want you to have your rookie money, so I'll basically knock it off of your most expensive player. That's just the easiest way to do it. So, but that's their salary still, as it is prior to that adjustment, is what applies as far as franchise calculations and stuff like that. So, anyway, that is pretty much it. I don't really know if anybody would have hung in there for this whole thing, but just know that probably the more you put into this, the more thought you put into this, probably the better. And that's kind of where I'm at as far as keepers go. If I can get a spreadsheet sent out, a few days before the draft, I will probably do that. And in fact, the fact that I can see this here on the draft board, if I go in and I look and I see that everybody's got theirs kind of set, and I just verify with everybody, hey, you're good, then I'll start working on that spreadsheet. But you can kind of see here, there's a bunch of folks haven't even gone in here and done this stuff yet. Needless to say, our newest player over here only has Puka Nacua marked as a keeper, and she was pretty aggressive in the bidding process. She's got some more players she needs to put in there. So anyway, I'll go ahead and stop babbling on about this, and just know that if there are questions or anything, you're always welcome to text me, call me, email me, direct message me in the sleeper. If you got a general question, you can always post it in the chat, and people will probably answer it for you. But yeah, 22 players total after the live auction. So for some of us, it might be pretty short, which is kind of my goal. I was really kind of limit some of that stuff. But until I see you again, stay safe.